Welcome, everybody, to the 2025 Stampies. It's the 8th annual Best of the Year award show. I do one every year. It hasn't always been the Stampies. I've had different forms. I went back and watched some old ones, and I have no memory. There was one where I went to Home Depot in the middle of the review. It was very kind of Little Bill of me. It was cool. But that was 2022. I've been sort of figuring out how to do this. Last year, I broke the Stampies into two. There was the rap category and then everything else. That was a mistake. Last year, I was high as hell, not on drugs, but on just my channel doing well. I might do a video actually about what it's like to do YouTube in 2025 after doing YouTube in 2024, because man, it has been harsh. I shouldn't have got used to all those views. You know what I'm saying? I feel bad for all the people who are like, I'm going to quit my job and talk about Kendrick forever. But anyways, so I'm working on a theory here. I'm going to be working on a video, I think, called I Don't Move by Motion. We tend to think about motion, that's the word that everyone uses. But that's not how I don't move on motion. I move on curiosity and a natural drive, and probably some weird feeling that if I don't work hard enough, my dad won't love me. But it's mainly the first two things. So I want to talk about how this year is going to be different. This is a live stream. If you have questions for me, I'm going to do the Culture United thing, and I will answer all the super chats at the end, or as I'm going to call them, all the super cats. Dun Dada. Don Dada by Supercat, one of the best albums of the 80s. Maybe it was the 90s. Whatever it is, it's one of my favorite reggae albums. My buddy Brad had it on tape. So, if you put in a super cat, I will read that at the end. I assume I've enabled super cats, right? Yeah. So please do that. I'll be happy to answer all those questions. I might even use my drum machine to answer some of those questions. But other than that, I'm just going to go through the video, and I'll be kind of looking. I'll be looking a little bit at the people talking, but I'm not very good at that yet. Okay. So it's going to be different. It's going to be different. It's still, 9 categories. We're talking 4 rap categories, 2 pop categories. This year, 1 rock category, singer-songwriter category, and Thunderground Thursday. That's the way I do it. I don't always do the same categories every year. And then I'm going to have my top album of the year. But guess what? I'm telling you right away. I'm not saving the big ending till the end. I'm giving you the big ending at the beginning. I'm telling you what is the best album of the year. No, what is my top album of the year? Okay? I've been thinking about this for a long time because this has been causing me sort of emotional pain. How do I distinguish? How do I understand what is happening in this year of music? Because sometimes, not that often, but sometimes, what is most listened to, most appreciated, is also my favorite. That doesn't always happen, okay? But sometimes my personal taste aligns with the zeitgeist, either the commercial zeitgeist or the critical zeitgeist. And when that happens, the what's that term? Contrarian in me is no, actually, the best album of the year is the Carter 6. I want to say that, don't clip that. But when that happens, it's special because it means that things are, I don't know, somehow aligned. So what I am going to do is give the award of album of the year to 3 albums. Before I do that, I will build up a little bit more suspense. Why not? Why not build up a little bit more suspense? Just in case you don't know, what have been the previous winners of the best album of the year? Well, the first year I did it, I started in September. So it was Kanye's 5-album run, obviously. I think I have 2 of them on vinyl. But I would say that if I had done it properly, it would have been Bambi by Hippocampus. Love this album. My family loves this album. It's just one of the great rock albums of the last 10 years. If you've never heard Hippocampus Bambi, check it out. The album that has gotten the most plays in my house, Andrew Bird's My Finest Work Yet, won the Stampy in 2019. And that was just an amazing album, very much of its time. I think it's one of the definitive albums of life after 2016. 2020 went to the Strokes, The New Abnormal, but my daughter took it to her college, so that's there. But Japanese Breakfast came in second, so that could be there. 2021 was a year where I just took everything out of contention because obviously Donda was the best album. Okay, but I just took it out of contention because it was so good. So I kind of took that out of contention, and instead I gave it to Pray for Haiti by Makami. I've still never been able to get that on vinyl. 2022 went to what is probably the best album I've ever reviewed on this channel, Ants from Up There by Black Country New Road. 2022 went to Lauren Oder with this amazing album, Infinite Spine. She is releasing a new album soon. I thought it would be out by now, so I kind of kept a space for her in case it was as good as I thought it was going to be. And then 2024, I gave it to The Beef in general, but realistically, it went to GNX by Kendrick. So that was what was leading up to this. And for this year, there were 3 albums that I thought were so good, so like perfect, that were also being recognized as being good and perfect, that it felt unfair for me just to be another guy giving these albums their flowers. The albums are Getting Killed by Geese, Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clips, and it's not out on vinyl, or at least I couldn't order it. Debí tirar más fotos de Bad Bunny. Okay, I apologize for that. These 3 albums, as far as I figure, are just 3 perfect albums that do the things that music does the best. They are all amazingly powerful. They're amazingly wise. They're amazingly courageous. And so I started to think in goofy terms. My dad was weirdly obsessed with triangles. I've been thinking about triangles my whole life, and I play a lot of Zelda. That's a super chat. You can ask me in super chat to tell you more about Zelda. Where can you find my Beatle fan fiction? But like, there is no fan fiction. Don't give me money for that. But like, when I thought about these albums, I thought like, what is it about these albums? And I realized all of them possess like, so I started thinking about the triforce. Okay, so this is from The Legend of Zelda. It's this whole idea that there's like 3 parts of some kind of powerful object, and they break into pieces. And then your job when you play as Link, is you have to reconnect them. And there's power, and there's wisdom, and there's courage. And I was getting kind of goofy, and I was like, could I say that about these albums? Because I think you can. Like, I think you could say that Courage is the Bad Bunny album. I mean, he's releasing an album all in Spanish. He refuses to sing in English. He refuses to tour in America. He wins the Chomsky Award for fighting hegemony more than anybody I can even imagine. I mean, perhaps in my entire lifetime, nobody has so effectively fought against a certain kind of American hegemony. I know he's American. I'm not saying he's not. But what I'm saying is the kind of way that America presents itself, the way it treats its Hispanic people, its Latino people. It's an amazing piece of art that does not bend to these nefarious forces. He is resisting. He gets all that strength and courage, and he leaves so much money on the table. Now, when it comes to strength, the thingy of strength, I think that's got to be Geese. Young folks making good rock music. Kenny Beats, unbelievable on this album. And Kenny Beats was also on that album, Idols, from last year. Man, that album is super underrated. Like just strength, rock and roll, and that of course leaves the triforce of wisdom, which has got to be Clips. These guys who have just lived their whole life, who are in their older ages and have figured out some way to impart that wisdom while still being just super dope. And then I got even nerdier in it, okay? I got even nerdier with it. I thought, what if I thought about the way that we listen to music and what we consider to be top? It's always a problem. Whenever you hear a critic say the top album, it's really confusing. Do you mean your favorite album? Because that's not the same thing as the top album. And it being your favorite album is not the same thing as the most important album. And the most important album is not the same thing as the technically best album. You see, when we say that something is at the top, we might be meaning one of these 3 things. So I think it's really fun to think about these albums and the way that I appreciate them as possessing all three of these attributes, much much like Zelda, much like Link and Ganondorf both possess these elements, and in Zelda they all possess, a certain amount, but they all have more of one. So I think Let God Sort Them Out is objectively the best album of the year. Just when it comes to rap production, rapping, just an unbelievably polished piece of hip hop perfection. We are left powerless by its virtuosity. So that wins the triforce of bestness. Most important, obviously, it's Bad Bunny. I mean, he's now playing at the Super Bowl. Do you understand how important sports are for geopolitics? Do you understand that he's going to be playing at the Super Bowl in like a couple months, and that is going to be a huge FU to ICE? I know, Puerto Rico, they are citizens. It's not the same thing as people from Mexico or from other parts of the world, or Haiti or wherever. But still, people who speak his language, people who look like him, are constantly being rounded up, and now on the biggest possible stage. Yeah, GNX was super important. It was super important that Kendrick performed that live. And certainly, this is equal to it, if not surpassing it, in terms of its importance. The way that it fights against the tourism industry, the way it fights against neo-colonialism, the way it fights against neo-capitalistic colonialism in Puerto Rico. How hard is he fighting? He has the most streamed, the most viewed, the most everything. And he is using his power to actually fight American cultural, linguistic hegemony. Jesus Christ. I said this when this album came out, by the way, on Culture United. Everyone's like, yeah, cool. I'm sure it's good. And then that leaves favorite. Man, it's always going to be Geese. I haven't come close to listening to an album as much as I've listened to this album. And it's not just because I got to hang out with them backstage, but that doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt that I talked to them for a long time and they were super nice. But like, this is just so much of the music, so much of the stuff that I love in music is in that album. It is just an astoundingly fun, and did I say astounding more than once? I apologize. That's why I don't do live streams very often. Hey, 100 people here. If you're new here, smash like bucket. If you give me a super cat, I will answer the question at the end. Hype it up. It's obviously my favorite, and it's also the favorite of my family. Okay, it's my favorite of my family. It's my daughter's favorite album, Goat. She's been on the channel. She often gives her greatest of right now analysis at these year-end things. This is her favorite album. My wife loves this album. My 3-year-old, this is true. My 3-year-old has 2 imaginary friends. One of them is named Duck, and the other one is named Geese. She has that's 2 people, Duck and Geese. That's how much Geese is all up in my family. So I put my glasses back on for this so I look even more professorial. So that's my little take. That's my goofy take on the importance, the quality, everything. And also, by the way, when it comes to sports, everyone pay attention to the World Cup. Everybody understand the moral imperative to root for Haiti. The fact that Haiti is playing in the World Cup, and in February, a couple 100,000 people who are here on temporary protected status are being kicked out. It is going to be an amazing geopolitical moment. So just put that in your head right now. Okay, so that's not the end of the video. That's the beginning. That's just the beginning, where I talk about these 3 albums and why they're so perfect. And not for nothing else, but 2025 has been really rough if you are a citizen on planet Earth. It's been rough. It could be better. And if you're a citizen of America, a lot of things have been done in your name lately that are terrible and not at all what you want to have happen in your name. So what I love about these 3 forces, these 3 artists, is they all reflect different parts of the American experience, of American diversity. I mean, Geese is a bunch of rich white kids from New York City, but like they took their privilege and they turned it into art to make for people. And Clips, they're these black veterans of the crack epidemic from Virginia. And then we have a Puerto Rican superstar who mixes together all these genres and makes old style music and new style music and mixes them all together. Between all of them, you have all these different genres and feelings and backwards and forwards looking. And the whole thing is like, if you just went on those 3 albums, you'd be like, man, America in 2025 is doing great. What a great, awesome country. Oh, I also gave you the underrated and the overrated, the underrated and overhated album of the year as well. I'm not going to do most overrated because this is the Always Positive New Music Review show hosted by a French professor. So let's get to the first category, shall we? How readable is that? Is that readable to y'all? I am going to look at the comments here. See some people commenting here. Let's see if bro was a goat, he'd be called Kenny Bleats. All right, see we're up to some good work in the chat. This is why I don't read chat. So, this is a big category. In my opinion, this category has been the one that has grown the most since I started doing this channel. And I think it says something. Read My Soul just did a great video called Trap Fatigue. It's really good. Go check it out. And in that video, he's talking about how what people are tired of is not even rap music. They're just tired of trap, just of that aesthetic. I think it's true. And at the same time, we are seeing more and more and more rappers in the mainstream, or at least who have a record label, have a record deal, making albums that are not just about having. See, I break down rap albums into having and being and doing. Okay, it's kind of tied into some old Sartre bullshit I read a long time ago. Those are the 3 main verbs of existence, To be and to do is our most kind of elevated aims. And then to have is our most base aims. I have money, I have women, I have cars, etc. So mainstream rap, being and doing, is rap that is not about that. Now, for fun, I found this from last year's 2024. Look at the year we had last year. Every single one of those albums is at least a 9 out of 10, if not a 10 out of 10. King of the Mischievous South is maybe just a 9 out of 10. But Blue Lips, Soul Burger, Dark Times is maybe 9 out of 10 as well, right? I don't give grades. But you know what I'm saying? And this year, it's the same thing. I mean, I included Dave. I know everyone else is including Little Sims as their sort of token British artist. But I really love Little Sims, but I did not like that as much as some of her other projects. Whereas I really thought that The Boy, the Harp is great. Chance the Rapper, I got that on CD. Not only did I get that on CD, I got that autographed. Huh? I'm a sucker for autographs, everybody. By the way, I went back and I rewatched my my review of The Big Day. Man, I was so innocent in 2018 whenever that came out. First of all, it was still Sky Sweaty record review. Second of all, I thought that the reception of that album was going to be so positive that I was feeling embarrassed about being positive about that album because everybody was going to love it. I had no idea. I don't even think I'd watched a Fantano video by the time I started that. By the time I did that video. Anyways, holds up. I think he's great. God Does Love Ugly by Jid. Another amazing, absolute cracker of an album. I also got this on vinyl. And had to get that signed as well. Sweet. Thank you to my Patreons who helped me to buy music. Another just great album where the only thing that held it back was that people's expectations were so high that it couldn't have possibly done it, right? Tyler, the Creator, Don't Tap the Glass. That's another one that I bought. This album is amazing. This album is basically in the shadow of his own album. It's in the shadow of Chromacopia. So people are still thinking about Chromacopia. They haven't really caught up to this. This is this is one of the most courageous. You talk about the triforce of courage. This is one of the most courageous moves that he could have done. Jid won the audience award with 56%. On my YouTube page, I have a place where people can vote. So good job to Jid for winning. But I'm officially announcing the most underrated album of the year. I'm officially declaring what I think is the Rap Being and Doing Mainstream Award to Rave On. The Rave On album is so good. It is so thematically interesting. I know Top Dog Entertainment gets a lot of flowers, but like so did Stax, so did Motown. Like there's not enough flowers for what Top Dog is doing. The year that they had Over Here just continued on into here. You know, the one with Doechii, Schoolboy Q, and Ab-Soul, and then Rave On came on. I don't know if people were just tired. I don't know if this album is too real. I don't know if he's going too hard into the poverty and to his desperateness of his life, but I think it is a totally underrated album, an amazing artist, and just like the amount of pathos, the amount of emotion that you feel listening to this album is just astounding. So that's my winner. That's the first Stampy. Well, after the Triforce Stampy. I don't know if that's a good idea. Feel free to tell me in the comments if that's a good idea or not. So that's what I'm saying. So rap, being and doing, mainstream. I'll kind of put these over here. Now we got pop. I said here that this is kind of a tricky category because, okay, I don't like Lady Gaga. Calm down. I didn't say Lady Gaga sucks. I didn't say she's got no talent. I just said I don't. The sounds that come out of her mouth are not sounds that I enjoy. I felt the same way about who was that? Christina Aguilera. The same kind. I just don't like it. So like I'm sure that Mayhem is amazing. Everybody who I know and like was like Mike the Snare. He says it's great, and he's always right about everything, right? But like. I just don't get it. My daughter's been begging me, you've got to listen to it. You've got to listen to it. I will say this for Lady Gaga. I thought The Joker Folie à Deux was a good movie, and she was good in it. So that's not on here, which leaves us with this. By the way, in my public vote, Life of a Showgirl got the least amount of votes across all 9 categories. We are talking Gumby's Junk out of Oakland, California, in the Thunderground category, got more votes than Taylor Swift. Life of a Showgirl. Man! What was it that weird Trumpy guy said in Malibu's Most Wanted? Don't be hating. Like, it is just, yeah. Weeknd was never going to win. To me, it was between Lorde, Rosalia, and Sabrina Carpenter. And Rosalia won with 65%. Right now, I don't know what I'm going to hit. I just don't know what I'm going to hit. I just don't know. This is my pečat, which is the Serbian word for stamp. If you'd like to know why I call it that, watch any of the last like 10 videos where I tell the same goddamn story about this famous meme from Serbia. Radnici grada niš nemaju pečat. So I don't know. Who am I going to give it to? Rosalia or Sabrina Carpenter? I don't know. Let's see. What did I do? It's got to go to Rosalia. I like the Sabrina Carpenter a lot. I really did. I was surprised how much I liked it. It's maybe the most pure pop album, you know? But man, Rosalia is great. And if for nothing else, just so that Cole doesn't track me down from Dissect Podcast, he like texted me when that song came out, like a minute after it came out. It's like, have you heard it yet? And I felt kind of intimidated. I was like, oh, shit, I have to have a smart thought. I can't just listen to it. Cole's asking me. I have to have a smart thought. So yeah, that's what I'll say for pop. And now we got a more interesting category. Okay, multi-pop. So multi-pop is what I didn't know that there was a term called hyperpop. So I just used the term multi-pop for pop music that wasn't really quite pop. And that's really helped there to be a sort of like larger, I don't know, like an enlargement of what sort of alterna pop might be. This category is a freaking murderer's row. This is an unbelievable year for whatever this list is. I mean, Lauren Oder hasn't released her album yet, at least as far as I can tell. So that probably would have won, but you got to drop in order to win. Oklu is probably like my favorite, like in terms of like just listening. I could just listen to Oklu all the time. I mean, that album. I had who was it? It was a dude I used to play pickleball with before I had my second round of kids, I started playing a little bit of pickleball with some friends because I'm in my 40s and it's a law. Yeah, and he like texted me like, "Thank you for putting me onto the Oakley album. Like, I didn't know you were watching my stuff." And then we have like these three, which are all amazingly connected. The Quadica album, everyone laughs at me for saying Quadica instead of how I'm supposed to pronounce it, but I don't care. Isn't that the joke that no one knows how to say his name? You know? The Quadica and the Jane Remover albums are both great. But what I think is amazing, the reason that Danny Brown won with 35% of the vote, which means the vote was very spread out, is that it really has to go to Danny Brown. Because Danny Brown is the unifying moment. He is the unifying force. Because the whole thing is this. What was it? It was the paste. So Open Mike Eagle has done like 5 year-end review videos of year-end reviews. And I really enjoy it. He's one of the best people on this platform. Just hilarious. And Jane Remover was classified as hip-hop. And like, I get it. It makes sense. And I mean, sonically. And obviously Quadica doesn't really make rap music, but sort of makes and kind of started in sort of a na-na-na-na-na. And so then when they get together to work with a real deal rapper who's like, has the life experience, right? The life experience that created the art form, and they take what he helped inspire them to do, and then he takes inspiration from them, and then they all work together to like make something that is like unlike anything else he's ever done, unlike anything else they've ever done. It's like, it's an amazing document, it's like a distilled document of this moment. Okay, you know what, I can't help it. I looked at the comments. Let's see. Is SZA, but SZA didn't, she didn't really release this year, right? Do we consider that to be like its own album? I don't know. I guess I didn't. I consider that to be just like more of the last album. But it's super good. All right, how we doing, everybody? Doing well? You can tell me. I'll look at the comments for a second here. Weekend had Max Martin show back. Yeah, that was pretty good. Plebs hate Taylor music. Yeah, I know. I listen. I like the album. I liked it well enough. Okay, got a couple thumbs up there. Okay. Now, one of my favorite things about rap music is the fact that I can divide things into having and doing, right? Having, being, and doing, right? So like in general, the underground has more of the being and doing, because in general, just whatever. In the late 1980s, there was essentially a split where the world was given Public Enemy and NWA at the same time. And we decided we would rather hear about life on the streets and life of a street level hyper-capitalist than we would somebody who was fighting the power. So that was like essentially the rift. That was the change in history. If you could go back in time and kill Hitler, you should. But if you can go back in time and like somehow manipulate things, that Public Enemy was the model that was followed instead of NWA, who knows where America would be right now. But it makes sense that we followed NWA because we are a capitalist society. We are a society, as Americans, of having. We are not really into being and doing. Maybe we will do if it helps us to have more. But being is a waste of time. Existence is a waste of time if you're not on your Skrilla. I regret that. Kind of funny, though. So what's fun is that there's underground rap music that is also about having, because obviously there is, because it's still these kinds of theories, So, we have West Side Gun, Heels Have Eyes Too, which won with 43% of the vote. It's not going to win for me. I like it a lot. I think it's super great. I see it on a lot of top 10 lists. I think it's great. We got Larry June, Life is Beautiful. I don't feel like this was Alchemist's best year. I still think it was great. That was my favorite of his projects. A lot of people are saying, why no Alfredo 2? I'm just... The other day, I'm going to name drop here. The other day, Justin Hunt was kind of busting my balls. And he, because I was talking about the Nas album, and at first I didn't like it very much, and now I liked it a lot more. And he's like, is there ever an album that you don't warm up to, that you don't eventually like? And I took it all in good fun. Um, but I think Alfredo 2 might be that. It's like fine, but like just whatever it is, Freddie Gibbs just kind of he's more in that Lady Gaga territory. It just doesn't quite do it for me. You know what I mean? So, anyways, that's why he's not there. He would have won this thing because people are crazy for that album. I'm not. Black Milk and Fat Ray, I don't even think that belongs in this category, but I thought it was really good. Rome Streets and Conductor Williams is probably the one you are expecting me to vote for because Conductor Williams is one of my favorite producers, and Rome Streets is probably my favorite rapper. For me, he is the king of New York. Okay, he is. There's no rapper better than him. But I'm giving the stamp. So it is a good week for Detroit on Professor Sky's record review. I am giving it to Bruiser Wolf. Bruiser Wolf has been on, okay. You know how like usually if you ever see featuring Ty Dolla $ign, you know it's going to be good. You know Tyler Dolla $ign's going to come in with his voice and there's going to be something cool and fun and singy. You know what I'm saying? Bruiser Wolf has kind of become that for me in the underground. Like if I see featuring Bruiser Wolf, like I'm going to go click on that one first because he's just stupid with the punchlines. He's funny. He's got that comedy that I miss a lot in rap music, He's just funny. He's hard-hitting. He's personable. And that is just a great, great album. Just really, really underrated as well. So I'm with you all. Heels Have Eyes 2 is great. But if I had to just pick one of these albums to listen to forever and ever, ever, and ever, ever, it would be Bruiser Wolf, Potluck. Singer-songwriter. I don't know what I'm going to say for this one either. Now, Dijon. Oh, hey, I just got a super cat. I will answer that at the end of the thing. Okay? I will. That's at the end of the thing. Okay. Singer-songwriter. Dijon won, which is very cool. I think that's a super great album. Baby. I am not going to give it to that, even though I really liked the previous album a lot too. Bon Hiver, a lot of people voted for as well. I'm not giving it to that either. You might be thinking, I'd give it to Japanese Breakfast because, my wife loves Japanese Breakfast so much and I love Japanese Breakfast so much. And this album is a ridiculous grower. It's just super, 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 super meaningful, But that's not going to win either. Who else I got on there? Perfume Genius. I made a mistake. I should have re-listened to Perfume Genius again. I didn't. So that is the only one that might topple the winner of Professor Sky's Paychat. Agade Paychat. To ye Paychat. Lucy Dacus. I think people are sleeping on the album for the same reason that a lot of rock music gets slept on, which is that when things are the new hotness, they get all excited. And then we get to the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth album, and people are just kind of like tired of it. This got like Taylor Swift low votes, very, very few votes for this album. But it's just spectacular. It's really well made. It's very personal. And also, not for nothing, but look at how good her autograph is when you buy autographed vinyl from her. That's an autograph. Look at that. So I don't know. I find myself listening to this one the most. I find myself relating to it the most. I find I really loved Home Movies. I think it's a great continuation of that. The easiest way for me to not read the chat would be to not wear my glasses because right now it's just all life's a blur. Okay, what's the next category? Rap having mainstream. This one's goofy. Because it's like Playboi Carti won with like 91% of the vote. Almost no one voted for 21 Savage, 21, which again, I re-listened to that album's great. I reviewed it this week. That album's great. Am I the Drama? I think is super good as well. And Central C is really good as well. And Nardo Wick. So Central C and Nardo Wick, by the way, if you haven't seen, so I started doing this thing called Teach the Prof, where I have people come on and like tell me about stuff. So, I had Eric the Young God tell me the Florida-ness, the Jacksonville-ness of Nardo Wick, because he's from Jacksonville. And I also had a guest on Central C, so it's like this whole like fun idea of like having people who know more than I do come in. JF Musics for Central C, didn't say his name. Like people who know more than I do to come in and tell me. So that was really fun. So if anything, this is telling the 131 people here watching, you should go check that out. But this morning, I was like, what am I going to vote? Coming in with 91% of the audience vote. I re-listened to this album, and good Lord, it's awesome, man. Playboi Carti is so good. I got so much criticism for my takes on Playboi Carti, comparing him to Andre 3000 and comparing him to Public Enemy. You can go back and watch my videos about that. I'm still staying on it. I'm not saying it's as good as Whole Lotta Red, okay? Hey, do you remember when there was a music YouTuber that very few people knew about and who never heard anything by Playboi Carti, and he reviewed Playboi Carti and said it was great the week it came out? That was me. I'm not trying to start a war. I'm just saying most other music critics were like, what's happening here? I knew what was happening, and I didn't know anything. Anyways, but this is just great. I think it's an evolution. I think he's using a lot more voices, a lot more flows. I think the guest appearances are great. I think Travis Scott's great. I think Kendrick's great. I think it's a great piece of work, and it does all the things that you want Playboi Carti to do. What a great album. I'm really proud of you, by the way. They got 130 people watching, even though I've already told you what the best album of the year is. And it was a cheat because it's 3 albums at once. Now we get to Thunderground Thursday. So if you don't know what Thunderground Thursday is, it's a thing where I used to do every Thursday. I don't do it every Thursday now. Because, man, 2025 has been a bad year. Let's just say that. You can say that. Some years are bad years. This has been a bad year. Just on a personal level, it's been tough. So I just review stuff that is less known. I just review stuff that is not on a major label. At this point, I'm going to keep it a buck with you guys. I call anything Thunderground Thursday when I know it will struggle to get 1,000 views. Okay? It's just, I know when artists don't elicit passion or interest. Okay, so Gumby's Junk isn't going to win this award because they're just these really fun, goofy, underground, semi-prog, rough rockers out of Oakland. One of the musicians actually grew up on the street I used to live in when I lived in Oakland. So yeah, that's fun, right? Quantic is not going to win, but I really love Quantic. Like, I just really like Quantic's music. And I think that was real growth from the last album, which I liked a lot too. Chez Noir and Love the Genius, Desired Crowns, like everything that those two women do is great. Everything those two women do is great in rap music. And it makes me proud to be a Western New Yorker. It makes me proud to have students from Buffalo because I was like, hey, that's where Chez Noir and Love the Genius are from. But this is going to be another cheat. I'm going to have to give a split vote. So Goyard Ibn Said by Gais Guevara won the audience vote with 70%, and that makes sense. He was on the Super Bowl along with Kendrick Lamar, right? That's going to get it, but it's absolutely a total tie with Hesse Castle. So Hesse Castle is just this absolutely amazing Chilean post-punk band. If you like Black Country New Road, you just have to listen to them. And like what's I don't understand it. It's all in Spanish. Grow up. Just listen to the music. You think everyone in Chile understands when they listen to Black MIDI? Okay, so just really, really enjoy that. Now we get to the most contested categories. These are always the big ones, okay? Sometimes I have a rock category, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have a thriving survivors category, sometimes I don't. This is one of those years, okay, where we just have 2 left, post-punk and rap being and doing underground. All of these albums are great. I said it. Deadbeat by Tame Impala is great. You just aren't there yet, and that's okay. Squid released Cowards like 11 months ago. I don't know, it was a long time ago that Squid released Cowards. And I gotta say, it is a great album. like track to track to track to track. It is really fun, really upbeat, really like well thought out. It's just another great entry. But again, because it's not their first album, because it's not the new hotness or the hot newness, people just kind of let it go. I didn't even have time to review Racing Mount Pleasant. This would be on the list, by the way. I've listened to this album a ton since I saw them open up for Geese. I just haven't had time to do the review yet. It keeps getting bumped, so that should probably be there, but it's not. And then the Viagra Boys is super good. Like I liked Cave World, Cave Town, Nick Cave, whatever the Cave one was. I liked that one a good deal more, but that was still good. But I mean, come on, this is a Black Country New Road channel. Somebody made a quiz in some kind of like quiz thing, right? Where where it was like which member of Black Country New Road you are. If that's you, please put that in the comments. Or maybe I'll put it in the description if I remember. And I took the quiz, and you can be either Isaac or May or Georgia or Charlie or whatever. And I took the quiz and I answered all the questions. and I came up as Professor Sky's record review. I am one of the things that you can be. And I was the second most common response after Isaac Wood. So most Black Country New Road fans, if they were a member of the band, they would be Professor Sky's record review. So that was pretty funny. They also included a lyric from one of my songs, which took me way back because I don't really promote my music. It is on Bandcamp and stuff. But the best song I ever wrote was a song called "Five Little Cats," and there's a quote from there. So it's like, but I think much like the Live from Bush Hall album, I think it's there. You go. There's your paycheck. No artist has ever asked me for these, by the way. I give them to them. They're there. This album is amazing growth, amazing changes, the amount of things they've undergone, the amount of songs that are like so rich and so meaningful and so well made, and it's like still got the roughness that you liked off of Ants from Up There. But yeah, it's just great. It's another like basically perfect album. So yeah, I mean, just looking I'm just looking at the songs here, like Best Teeth, that's amazing. Best Spin, that was great. Socks, I didn't like it at first, but now it's my favorite song on the album. Two Sisters, Two Horses, Mary, Happy Birthday from the Cold Country, just like astounding. So yes, and awesome artwork. Jordan Key is the name of the artist. I bought an original piece by him. They're like $400. I mean, that's a lot of money if you're like one of my viewers and you're like in college and stuff. But if you have a fairly standard job, that's a way to support artists. And we now get to the most contested category. You're going to notice something with this category. There's only 4 names. That's because the number of also-rans in this category is just ridiculous. Okay? De La Soul should have been on here. Papoose should have been on here. Aesop Rock, if I'm being honest, should have been on here twice, which is probably why he wasn't on here once. Chez Noir should have made it on here. Saba and No ID should have made it on here. I forgot that the Clipping album was this year. That cool cyberpunk whatever. The Mike album? How can Sky not put Mike on here? I re-listened to it. I like it. But I don't think I love his voice. Like, I think he's super talented, and I love his production. He wins the Bismarck Award for self-produced rapper. Well, actually, no. Gais Guevara wins that. But he's up there. Gais Guevara should be on here. Saint-Sucré and Nicholas Craven should be on here. It is, and that's not even everybody. I'm like looking at the comments here, and there's just so many different people that should be here. What an amazing year this has been. Like, I'm tempted to give it to Sortilège because, the Frenchness, it's great. And I'm tempted to give it to Earl Sweatshirt because that's by far my favorite Earl Sweatshirt project. But I mean, both those in any other year would win. Billy Woods, won the audience award with 50%, which means that, you know, that was a pretty well even category. But I am going to go off the script, and I have to give it to Open Mike Eagle. What's his name? Karsten Rundquist just released a video about the movie The Color of Money by Martin Scorsese. And he talked about how Paul Newman got an Oscar. And like, Paul Newman probably shouldn't have gotten an Oscar for for The Color of Money, based on, like, you know, he was in The Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Have you seen Cat on a Hot Tin Roof with Paul Newman? Let me tell you, you cannot say you are not attracted to men at all unless you've seen that movie. Because you see that movie and you're like, all right, it's a little bit. I mean, come on, you know. And he's just so good. And so it's like, it's not just that this is a great album, but when I think about the level of quality that Open Mike Eagle has been putting out, the fact that he manages to, on top of that, be a content creator in the least crass sense of the word, like somebody who is legitimately adding to the discourse. He is a super needed voice. Like, the world of music criticism in general, hip-hop criticism in specific, without Open Mike Eagle is way worse, because he has expertise, he has industry knowledge, he has a laconic sense of humor. You know, he's like, I've called him Bill Murray many times, but like, that's kind of what he is. Like, imagine comedy without Bill Murray. Imagine comedy over the last 50 years and Bill Murray was never born. That's kind of what it's like. And this album, it's just like, I just keep listening to it. There's so many. I don't have it. Okay. I don't have it with me because I was going to buy it at his show, but then we're friendly enough online that I hung out with him at the show and like beforehand and watched my concert review. And also, just not for nothing, one of the best rap performances I've ever seen. Like, I haven't seen any rapper put as much effort into a concert as Open Mike Eagle puts in his concerts, period. Never seen a rap artist put as much effort into a rap show as Open Mike Eagle did opening up for Fantogram at the goddamn Anthology Club in Rochester, New York. So I feel like this album is everything that makes him funny, deep, and meaningful. Plus, it's catchy. Plus, he like sings the hooks, and the hooks are good. And there's so many different ways that he is presenting his own life. And it's like he's like becoming like an author, to the point where you're sort of like going along with him through his life. And he releases these kind of semi-autobiographical books about his life that you get kind of like led into. You know, he's almost more of like an artist, like a cool artist guy. And it happens to be that his medium is music when it easily could have been something else. So that's why I'm giving it to that. But to be fully frank, just what an amazing category. Being and doing in the mainstream and in the underground are 1,000 times stronger than having. Think about that. Playboi Carti was the only real choice in that category. What? Young Thug? Gunna? Even the 21 Savage, which I really liked? Like, even in the underground, you know, there's some good stuff there, but the being and doing. So I think rap music has really made a great push on that end. Now, I said the most underrated and the most overhated. So the most underrated, I'm going to say, is Ray Vaughn. That album is just absolutely killer. And when it comes to the most overhated, you all knew what was coming. 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 You all knew my final autograph had to be the Carter 6. It's not that bad, everybody. You're just not 20 anymore, okay? You were 20 when the Carter 2 came out, and it was fun being 20, okay? I know. I'm not saying it's a good album. This realistically is not a good album. And it's a terrible vinyl, because like half the songs aren't even on there. I got it for the autograph. I'm like, well, I can get like an autograph of like one of the greatest MCs of all time. I don't care if it's a late thing, so I just did that, you know? But yeah, I think it's overhated. And I think, you know what I think? I'm going back to Chance the Rapper. That when this album came out, I mean, when the big day, I'm sorry. when the big day came out, this is the album cover. When the big day came out, people were burdened with their love of Chance's mixtapes and this long history and the blog era. And I was just some doofus. I was just the Robert Van Winkle of rap music who just woke up one day and heard his first full project from Chance the Rapper. So you all heard something that was like, this isn't nearly close to whatever I Love Acid and Kit Kats, whatever his albums were called. You were comparing it against that. And I was just like, what is this? And the same way where like I saw Lil Wayne in concert in 2000. Okay, the Rough Riders Hot Boys tour. I was there. I saw DMX and Lil Wayne on the same stage. Okay, so it's not like I don't know Lil Wayne. Okay, I've been down with the Hot Boys, but like I missed that whole period of time where he was the number one rapper in the world. And if you just come to it as somebody who's never really listened to a Carter project, it's not that bad. All right. So I told my wife this would take less than an hour, and I think that is correct. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to answer super chats. I might answer other stuff too if people are wanting that. There's nothing else I usually do in this set, is it? I can't believe I kept on my quarter zip the whole time. I know there's some kind of discourse around quarter zips that's happening right now. I haven't been following it. Can I tell you the embarrassing reason why I had my wife buy me this? I saw Joe Biden wear this kind of sweater, and I was like, man, that makes Joe Biden look good. I should get one of those. So that's why I have one. So yeah, there are my 9 categories plus my triforce. You can tell me in the comments. I'm gonna keep going on the live stream, but I'm gonna end the main video. You tell me in the comments what album. Do you have an album that was your favorite, the best, and the most important? Do you divide it up? How do you see it? What is your triforce of the year? All right. Happy holidays to all who have happy holidays, and if you're having an unhappy holiday, hold on. There might be a happy holiday in the future, or maybe not. Life is not always about happiness. All right. There's the camera. Hey, everybody. How's it going?